Hi guys, I am live on my Facebook page, my public page at least, and we're going to be doing some art today. This is not a tutorial or anything, but I'll probably give you guys some tips as I go along. But I just kind of wanted to hang out with everybody because uh, people say all the time that they wish I would do more videos about my art and stuff, and then Facebook decided to do this live function thing, so I wanted to try it out because it saves me the time of having to edit and everything, and I don't want to edit videos. I hate editing videos, so we're just going to do this live where we're hanging out and talking and stuff. So, let me go and really quick and check and see if this is advertising on Twitter. Um, let's see if it told everybody on Twitter where I'm at. Okay, hold on. I gotta tell people on Twitter. So I guess for a bonus, you guys get to watch me type. But like I said, we're just hanging out, and this is gonna be really casual, and uh, I'm gonna get started on my art here in a minute. How the crap do you share it on Twitter? Okay, I think I got this. I got this. We can do this. I'm new to this live stuff. Just give me a minute. Alright, hopefully I told Twitter to go to the right place because we'll see if they do. Now, I realize most people are probably going to watch this after work and stuff, and so I don't expect a huge audience at all. Like, I'm not anybody important. I'm just doing this for fun, and if people want to watch, then that's pretty cool. If not, whatever. I don't really care. I'm just doing this for fun. So we're going to get started on the drawing today, and we're working in my family grimoire, which is a sacred book that is quite a bit like, I suppose it would be like the Christian population has their sacred book, which is the Bible. Muslims have the Quran and stuff like that. Well, pagans, which is what I am, we don't have a singular sacred text to guide us. We have family books that give us wisdom and teach us from previous generations. And these grimoires can contain stuff about lunar cycles and plants and herbs and recipes and spells and stuff like that. So I have been slowly working on my family grimoire since 2012. I think that's the date on there that when I started it, and I'm trying to record everything that my grandmother taught me before she died, and unfortunately she tried to teach a lot of it to me when I was a tiny little 6-year-old girl, and no 6-year-old girl wants to listen to an old lady talking about trees. So I'm kind of regretting not not paying more attention to what she was saying. So I'm going to show you a couple of pages so you can see what I'm talking about. Um, we are going to move this, crash, there we go, and then this is my book. We're going to point down the camera just a little bit so you won't be seeing my face as much. Let's see, don't hold on to the back, just point it down a little bit. There we go. Alright, so now you can see a page in the book. Now, move it this way. There we go. I'm going to show you the page. I did a couple of pages. We're just going to start flipping through. I got it. You can sit down. So this is the title page, as you can see here. And I started this book on July 12th, 2000. 15. Never mind. I thought it was 2012. It's 2015. And all of this art was done by me. Let's see, which way does this go? There we go. These flowers, I don't remember the name of them, but these flowers are associated with my family goddess. And uh, Irish people pronounce her name differently, but because I am an annoying American, my family goddess, we call her Bridget. I believe that Irish people pronounce her name like Breed or something close to that, but since I've never been to Ireland and I haven't been taught by an Irish native, I don't know how to say it properly, but it's spelled just like Bridget. And this page is, let me pull it down for you guys. This page is about my ancestry, as connected to the people who practice paganism in my family. And it goes back, this person here, you probably can't read it from that distance, but this person here is Mary Jane Ross, and she is, as far back as I can go, as documentation-wise, as someone who has powers. Powers of, let's see, she was born on March 3rd, 1854, and she died on February 5th, 1945. And I wrote down here that letters exist describing spirit communication, meaning she could communicate with spirits, which is something that I probably inherited from her. She was also empathic, and she possessed precognition skills, both awake and asleep. Uh, Thank you, Patty. It's a trillium flower. Yes, that's what it is. It's a trillium flower. Um, from the previous page, that's a trillium flower. And precognition just means she can, Grandma Mary Jane could see into the future. Um, so it goes back to the 1800s as far as documentation goes. And so I wrote down basically a summary of my family's history and how we pass down our traditions from the old world, which would be Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England, and Brittany, which is part of France now. And I did this first. This is the lunar cycle, because the very first thing I ever remember my grandmother teaching me was the lunar cycle. She would teach me all kinds of things about what the moon phases were called, and at what point should a person transplant plants, and how the lunar cycle affected um, the agricultural cycle. And then this page is unfinished. You probably can see some of the sketching. This page is what I'm going to be working on today, but I'm going to show you the other pages first. I think there's one more page. Yeah, there's one more page to show you first. This is a lady that I found on Instagram, and I thought it was really, really beautiful pose. She was floating in water, and I want to write up in the corner. I want to write we are the granddaughters, and then down here, of the witches you couldn't burn, because that seems to be like a motivational type of thing that people do who practice paganism. There's a lot of different people who make art based on that phrase, we are the granddaughters of the witches you couldn't burn. And I like that motivation, so I wanted to put a page in there for future generations that will see that. And so that's the page we're going to work on today. But yesterday, I did this page. And this page is about the Tree of Life. And the Tree of Life is something that people in Ireland, especially whenever they had farms and such, they would have a, uh, they would have basically an oak tree. Usually it was an oak tree that was sacred, so sacred that it was a crime to cut it down. And the reason why trees are sacred to Celtic people is because they represent the balance and harmony between um, the physical world and the other world. And so I wanted to write down everything I knew about the Tree of Life for the people that I hand this book down to, and I wanted my main goal is to teach younger generations um, to be eager about protecting the environment. My grandmother was the kind of person who would literally go outside and talk to trees like they were people. That was normal to me, but I realize now as an adult that's not normal to everybody else. The crazy old lady talking to trees, that's what people think. But to Irish people and Irish descendants, not all Irish people, I don't want to make generalizations like that, but a lot of the old Irish people believed trees were alive, living beings, spirits, and that we came from the trees. So my grandmother going outside and talking to her trees was pretty normal for me. Um, so I wanted to write some of that down for the future generations. And then on the page over here, I'm going to write about the sacred woods in Ireland and Celtic cultures and what they actually mean as far as spells and stuff. But today, my lovely friends, I see 7 of you are watching right now. That's pretty cool. Um, I am going to start working on this. Now, there may be times where I'm not talking because I'm coloring, but I can see the text here. So if you have any questions while I'm doing this and stuff, or if you just want to talk or whatever, we're just hanging out. This is really casual, people. I am not a formal person. Like, I'm literally hanging out here in my pajamas, okay? Oh, I have 9 people counting the little girls, so I better watch my language because there are 3-year-olds watching this right now. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I got some pencils ready to go. Let me see my pencils, please. This strange hand you're gonna see, this is my home health lady. This is Levita. Everybody say hey to Levita. I want this one. All right, we are starting with light peach. I believe this is light peach. Mm-hmm. And what I usually do is lay down a block of color first, and then I go in and add more detail from there. Um, so beginning art is kind of boring, I suppose, to people. Yes, I can talk and draw at the same time. I got a lot of comments about that from the last video I posted. Oh my god, I can't believe you can talk and draw at the same time. But I've been drawing since I was 3 years old. I've been drawing since before I could write my own name. So this is like totally normal to me. And you know, I don't really notice that I do things differently until other people point it out. That's kind of what I'm dealing with. But it doesn't bother me when people point it out because it does remind me, like, oh, that is cool that I can do that. Sometimes I just kind of get wrapped up in my life and I forget to realize that I am pretty cool. I don't mean pretty cool as in, gosh, I'm the best person in the world. I mean pretty cool as in, I do stuff differently, and that is cool, and it's okay to say that the stuff you do is really cool. Um, oh, I should tell you guys that the initial sketch for this drawing was um, done partially by Dimitri, my friend, and then partially done by me. Dimitri got it started for me because I have trouble with proportions and stuff still, and Dimitri's actually been to art school. And so when he comes over, sometimes he helps me with doing art and stuff. And so he started the sketch, and I did a lot of cleanup work on it today before we came here. Let's see. Patty wants to know, do your eyes ever tire out quickly from being so close to your work to focus? That's a great question. Yes, my eyes do tire out a lot. And that's why a lot of people, a lot of artists can sit and do their art for like 12 hours at a time, something ridiculous like that. Um, I can't. I can probably do 2 hours is about my limit. So basically, my home health person's shift is about as long as I can tolerate it. And then I have to take a break. And after I do my art, I usually have bouts of double vision for a little while. And that can be a little bit difficult to deal with. When I was a child, um, doing all this work so close actually started to harm my eyesight, and I started wearing glasses in the first grade, and my eyesight progressively got worse until I was pretty much blind up until I had I didn't have LASIK surgery. I had something a little bit more intensive because my case was too severe for straight up LASIK surgery. But I had surgery, I believe, let me think, 2007, I believe, 2007, yeah. But it took me until 2012 to pay that surgery off, let me tell you. Uh, Eye surgery is totally worth it if you have trouble seeing. I have severe anxiety, and I was able to go through it without being put to sleep or anything. So if I can do it, you can do it. Um, I totally don't regret having eye surgery. Now my eyes are getting worse again, and I'm gonna have to start wearing my glasses more often. But they told me when I had surgery that because of the nature of the work I do, that that's probably going to happen. But I had how many years? Like 11 years of really good eyesight. For a long time, I had 20/20 eyesight, and that was something I never had before. So you just kind of have to be grateful for what you have. Let's see. Um, I have trouble working around the tiny details. It, it gets a little difficult sometimes, but when you're an artist, my biggest advice to an artist, and my brother would probably have the same advice. The advice is take your time. A lot of artists start to get very, uh, I would say, overconfident, or sometimes it comes from not wanting to spend so much time working on it, working on a piece, and then it becomes a rush. A person starts rushing and making mistakes. So I would say my biggest piece of advice, and my brother's biggest piece of advice is to is to definitely take your time. And he's constantly telling me that because I'm not very good at taking my time. I start to get tired and then I start rushing because I want to get as much done as I can. So, the um the biggest problem I have as far as drawing people is hands and feet. Hands and feet are the worst. The worst. I can't even tell you how much I hate drawing with hands and feet. Alright, so now we're gonna try putting in some shadow work. Let me see. Let me try the darker peach one first. Yeah. Um, for me, a lot of drawing and shadow work is experimentation. A big mistake that a lot of artists make is they think shadows are gray or black, and they're not. Shadows are actually just darker versions of the colors that exist in reality. So, since I'm doing a skin color here, I will be putting down multiple layers of things to create shadows, such as right now I'm working on her underarm right here, and the under part of her, what do you call this? Her upper arm. You have to break down each part of the human body into a simple shape. So if you think of an arm as a series of conical shapes, it will help you think of things in simpler terms. And when you're doing shadows, you need to think of where things are darker based on where your light source is. For her, she is floating underwater. So her light source would be above her head because the sun is above the water. So all of her shadows are going to be like her underarms and under the bust right here. But this is a dress, so I won't be doing that just yet. And down here under her chin, that is a major dark place because the chin is such a harsh angle. I will be using different colors to create a darker shadow under here. And under this arm, now when you're doing skin colors, especially with Caucasian women, you don't want to get them to be too orange. I know fake tanning is all the rage right now, and all the Caucasian girls are fake tanning. But fake tanning ends up making people look orange, especially in art. So be very careful about the orange. If you find yourself getting too orange, then you want to go in with the color on the opposite side of the color wheel, which would be, I believe it's blue, but you don't want to be like this blue. You don't want that. You want like a light grayish blue to counteract the orange. But the goal is to not have orange at all. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm sticking to peaches and various shades of peaches, and I will be using cream and beige and eggshell and white for different tones in her skin. And in the face, if the light source is above, her cheekbones right here are going to be lighter because they will be sticking out. So you want to leave those alone. Don't color those cheekbones with a dark color. You want to go in there with white and blend it out and make it lighter. Let's see, do we have a new question? Julie Halberg wants to know, have you ever considered a gallery showing of your art? Oh my God, I would die if I could have a gallery showing of my art. I would be so excited. I would buy new dresses and I would just die to have that happen. But I don't know how to do that. That's the thing. I would be so excited. Lavita, my home health lady, is whispering excuses, excuses.
Oh, that's an excuse. There's always the internet.
Yeah, she says there's always the internet.
Right.
I really honestly don't know how to do a gallery showing. I live in Atlanta, if you don't know, and
You too.
oh my goodness, if I had a gallery showing, I would just die of excitement. You don't even know. I would just like my dream is to be able to sell my art. Like, I'm going to have an online shop on Etsy, or it depends on what my brother says. My brother is a web developer, like, that's his career, and he might actually think that making me a marketplace private website is better than going with Etsy or something like that because places like Etsy and Redbubble, they take a big chunk of your pay. So, but yes, to answer your question, I have thought about it, but I don't know how to do it. So, it would be amazing though if I could do it a gallery showing. I would love to do a gallery showing of like pagan art and spiritual art, and I always kind of thought about maybe one day I could start drawing some portraits of the spirits I've met in my life, because if you don't know, I do spiritual readings and stuff for people, and I just think that some of those spirits probably never had their pictures made or anything, and I think it would be really neat to uh, do some spiritual art along those lines, just to give faces to the people that I have met in spirit. I always thought that would be neat, but I don't know if that would be something people would want. So we'll see. Okay. Let me try that dark one. Yeah, let me try that. This one is, hold on, I gotta look. This one is beige sienna. I have never tried this color, but we're gonna see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then I can go over it again with my peach color and it'll fade away. Actually, it does work. For casting a shadow anyway, beige sienna I think would be a good color for mid-tone darker women, such as women of Hispanic descent. Um, I say women because I think probably the men would be a little darker. I don't really know for sure, but um, this is a nice color though. It gives an olive tone to the skin. Okay, here's a problem with Prismacolor pencils. Prismacolor used to be the best quality ever. That's why I use them. And Prismacolor has declined in quality over the last probably 3 to 5 years. I cannot press very hard with them because they shatter. That is a decline in quality because they used to be able to withstand the pressure that I put on them, but now the ends keep tipping. You probably can't see that. Let's see, can you see that? That is a broken tip. And Prismacolor is notorious for shattering now. I just heard the toilet paper thing in there go. That means my cats are in there destroying the toilet paper roll. Did you guys know that I have a lot of animals? Because my brother is living here for a little while. Um, on my own, I have 2 dogs and 1 cat. My brother also has my brother also has 2 cats, and so right now we have 3 cats and 2 dogs, and we live in a 900 square foot apartment. So it's a little crowded in here, and my cats really, really love spinning the toilet paper roll. And I just heard it spin. I don't know if they got away with it, if they did it, but yeah, so Lorena, my home health person, just ran into the bathroom to go look and see what my cats were doing. Can't believe my cats. um, so anyway, right now I'm still working on the shadows on her skin, and I'm gonna start putting highlights in a little bit, and then it'll start to look more like a person for you guys, because I know this looks I don't think this looks like a person yet for you guys. If I had a better camera, now I'm not complaining, Michael. Don't think I'm complaining. This is Michael's camera. He's letting me use it. But there are like super duper intense quality cameras that show every little detail and stuff. And those are the ones that the artists use when they do stuff. And, but Homegirl cannot afford that. My dad just got a new camera, and he said it was something like $300. And I'm like, no way. Homegirl cannot afford that. Okay, so trying to make this dark because right here, a lady's underarm is going to be darker when the light source is straight up above. And don't forget the cleavage shadows, because women who have breasts will have serious cleavage shadows. And a lot of women with smaller breasts, there are a zillion videos on YouTube about how to paint cleavage shadows on with makeup and stuff. And ironically enough, that actually taught me how to draw cleavage shadows on women in real life in my art. Okay. And then, let's see, let's try this creamy color.
This one.
Yeah. This color is literally cream. That's what it's called. And I use this color when a Caucasian drawing, the woman, her skin color is getting a little too orange or too brown or too something. The cream color kind of balances things out for me. It also helps blending out the colors, because sometimes there can be harsh lines with colors, and colors like cream or white or eggshell are pretty good for helping you make everything look a little smoother. And hold on a second, I want to get my eraser. You're probably going to go look right down my shirt, but whatever. Okay. You want to avoid mixing in the graphite from your lines too much, because graphite will compromise the color of your colored pencils. So I'm trying to erase some of this graphite so it doesn't compromise the color so much. There we go. And then erase this. Right. Can you swipe your hand on that, please? These eraser bits stick all the time. There's some over here on her other arm. Yeah, there we go. So we are blending and blending. That's the thing about doing art, is you have to be really patient to sit here and blend and blend and blend and blend. Because if you don't, it's not going to look like real skin. Skin is very complicated to draw. Sometimes, especially with darker people, one time I did a portrait of Native American people that I knew in Tennessee. And I'm telling you, just to get the skin color, I must have used 8 pencils. That's a lot. But sometimes it takes using 8 pencils to get a skin color right. I'm also being very liberal with the cream because this lady is underwater, remember? And have you ever looked at your skin underwater? It sometimes can look very, very light, and it can also sometimes look translucent, depending on how light your natural skin color is. So I am giving her a watery kind of color. I hope I'm not boring you guys. Hey, 8 people are still watching. Oh, okay. Julie says that your home health lady has nice nails. Show everybody your nails in the camera. There we go. She gets her nails done. she's a real girly girl like I am, and she loves makeup and stuff, and she has lots of different hair colors, and because she wears wigs, and it's really fun. Um, okay, I need that other brownish color. Yeah, let's see if this one will help. Sorry.
Oh no, I didn't want to drop it.
Oh, see, now everybody loves your nails.
Oh my god. Oh,
You're gonna be a celebrity.
with nails. No, they are gel nails.
Oh, I forgot to tell you what color I'm using. Okay, this is straight up beige. I mean, it doesn't really look beige to me. It looks kind of green, but we're gonna go with it. You see that? It just snapped the tip off again. Thank you, Prismacolor. And when you want serious highlights, that's when you go in with white. But that's like white is a lot of people tend to reach for white way too soon. White should only be used if you really, really, really need to lighten up something because white can be very intense. Okay, now let's go in with white now that I've told people not to use it so much.
But she's using it.
I love using the white pencil. It makes me happy, okay? I am using white to put in the highlights on the tops of her collarbones. I don't know if my camera is going to be sharp enough to pick up on that. So I'm using the white to get these collarbones going. Let me tell you, it's very, 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 very important for artists to study anatomy like doctors do. I don't mean that intense, but um, it will help a lot with your drawing if you study anatomy. Because then you'll know, like, the collarbones go right here. That kind of thing. It also helps to know where the muscles are, because muscles on your arms especially will cast different shadows and different highlights, and so you need to know all about that. That's why a lot of people in art school will sit there and draw from live models a lot. That's a really, really great way to learn. I wish I could go to an art class and draw from live models. That would be the best. I think my mom was a live model for a while when she was younger. She, my mom, she was kind of a crazy person when she was young. She was up for anything. She needed to make some money, and sometimes those art schools will pay you to be a live model, and that's what my mom did. I have another friend, I'm pretty sure, that was also a live model. Okay, Mike wants to know, not my brother Mike, my friend Mike. He wants to know, if you make a small mistake, do you erase it or try to draw over it? Um, if I'm doing graphite or charcoal, it is possible to erase it, but when you're doing color, it's not possible to erase, so you just kind of have to go with it, and you have to try to make it work. Um, that's a big reason why I used to lack confidence in doing art, because I was just terrified and paralyzed with the fear of making a mistake. Um, so yeah, I hope that answers your question. Hold on, there's another question. Julie wants to know, surely someone would model for you, or is that too awkward? My mom has offered to model for me. I don't mean naked or anything, but I have practiced drawing hands by my mom just sitting on the couch and having her hand out so that I can practice. Um, that's not that's not awkward or anything, no. But if I was to have nude modeling, which is what a lot of the art schools do, that would be a little awkward. I mean, unless I was in an art school setting. I don't know, it depends on the person. Definitely not having my mom do nude modeling. Nobody needs to see that. Alright, so I'm going to hold off on the skin for a little bit. And where's my colored pencil box? It's on the couch.
There's a loud noise.
Let's do, for her dress, I don't know, something bold. I don't know if I can do gold.
Okay.
Like metallic gold? I don't have that kind of technology, homie. Let's see. We could do those. Let's see. What about those purples you were picking out the other day? That one. There's another one. There are a couple of purples. You just gotta look around. I love purple. My handbag is purple. Yeah, purples. That'll be a little more exciting for people. Yeah. Is that a duplicate?
Yeah.
Okay. Also get a light pink, because highlights for purple are light pink. And get a dark red, because the shadows for purple can be dark red. And also dark blue.
You have red in here?
Like a brick red. I don't mean that red. I mean like dark, 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 dark red. It'll probably look brown to your eye.
No. No. Yeah, that's a purplish.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. Oh, I see how you look that up.
Yeah. You see what I'm doing?
You
You see what I'm doing? Hold on, you guys. You'll see the purples in a second.
Okay, like this?
Yeah. See if there's a really dark blue, like indigo?
No.
Indigo almost looks black. You're probably going to confuse it for black.
No. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, here it goes.
Yeah, that's indigo. Okay. I think that'll be good enough. And go ahead and sharpen those. You guys are going to hear the sharpener. Hold on. Sorry, the sharpener is really annoying. Hey, okay, Mike says hold on. If people are watching using their phones, they can flip their phone around by 180 degrees to get a better view of what Jessica is drawing. So flip your phone around to 180 degrees and you can get a better view. I know it's blasphemy to use an electric pencil sharpener, but you try to stick a pencil into a regular sharpener with your mouth.
She have an excuse.
Yeah.
See, nobody else does.
Okay, let's see all of them so I can show people all of them. Alright, so these are the purples and the pink is the highlight of what it's going to take to make a purple dress. So when you start with anything that takes like a lot of different shades of a color, you always want to start with the mid-tone. Actually, this is the light one, but for my purposes, it's the mid-tone. And I'm going to go ahead and lay down all of the color for the whole dress. So she will be wearing purple very shortly. I should also note that Prismacolor pencils and their equivalents like Derwent and Faber-Castell, those pencils are meant to be layered and mixable, but you cannot layer and mix pencils like Crayola because they're too waxy. You can try, but it's not gonna go well. Not like artist quality. I use Crayola pencils for my coloring books because I don't want to think too much about my coloring books. Those are just what I do for stress relief. Alright, so coloring in the purples. I'm jiggling because my dogs are moving. Okay, make up your mind. Where are you going? Oh! My dog just jumped right over my pencil box. I was so lucky it didn't go anywhere. Okay.
Yeah, that's the same price she had talked to me about. So it's the same thing.
Let's see. No, her butt is not actually this big. It's the dress. You know how when you're in water and you're wearing clothes and your clothes just kind of go everywhere in the water? That's what that is. The other day, one of my friends was like, "Why are you giving her a Beyonce butt?" It's like, no, that's not a Beyonce butt. There's nothing wrong with Beyonce butt, but she doesn't have one. She's just floating in water. Can you guys still see? Okay. Just making sure I'm not going out of frame. Now, this is the part where I start to get tired, okay, because I'm going back and forth so much with my neck, and I constantly have to stop and breathe, stop and breathe, because the constant motion is, number one, it's jiggling my brain, and number two, it's rough on my neck muscles. Like, I envy people that can just sit here and color in a whole dress without having to stop and breathe. I am definitely not one of those people. Jesse Deakins wants to know, do you ever paint at all? Yes, I do. I do watercolor and oil paint. I actually prefer oil paint because it's more forgiving for my style, in that I can, if I make a mistake like Mike was talking about earlier with oil paint, you can just paint right over it and it's not a big deal. Watercolor is very, very unforgiving. If you make a mistake, you better be able to make it work in the picture, otherwise you're done. So I really admire watercolor artists because to me, watercolor is really hard. I also want to learn how to do acrylic painting because it's water-based and um, but it's thicker, kind of like oils, whereas oils are toxic for me, and acrylic and watercolors are not toxic. Um, so when I do oil painting, I have to be supervised like I'm a little kid because of everything that has to go in my mouth. I have to be really careful not to get oil paint in my mouth because it's toxic. Can you please sharpen? Oh, hi, Cindy. I really honestly did not expect anybody to care or come over here and watch. And I've consistently had people sitting here watching and asking me questions, which is really fun for me. It makes the drawing go faster. Sometimes I can get a little frustrated that I'm not going fast enough, which is something my brother, he just, he tells me about. Slow down, you're going too fast, you're gonna make mistakes. I hear that a lot. If you guys don't know, my brother is also an artist, and so is my mother, and my late grandmother was an artist. My father is an artist. My father's father was an artist. So it just, I guess I was raised around it. I don't know. I always liked it. What is my dog barking at?
He found something to bark at.
Lily and Daisy are outside, and I can hear them barking in the house. I don't know what's going on, but they are going nuts. Okay. Cindy wants to know what is my favorite medium to use. Actually, this is my favorite because I was initially trained as a colored pencil artist because my art teacher, when I was in school, thought that it would be the best thing for me to use because they're not toxic or anything, and if I swallowed anything, not that I swallow things intentionally, but if I swallowed anything, it wasn't going to make me sick. So I have the most training in colored pencil work. But I also really, really, really like oil painting. And my grandmother taught me to be a watercolor artist. So I would like to pick that up again for her because she is no longer here. What were you barking at outside?
No, he nasty. She nasty. Yeah. Why do they always look constipated? I'll tell you later.
um, and Cindy also wants to know what is my favorite brand. For colored pencils, I know how to use Prismacolor the best. And they are pretty expensive, so I tend to use them until they are tiny little stumps and I'm going cross-eyed because I can't afford to keep buying Prismacolors. It's not like me spending $5 on a pack of Crayola pencils. That's not how it works. So that's another reason why I want to open my own art shop online, because if I can do that, I would just like to break even so I can keep buying myself more art supplies. I'm really not looking to make a profit. If I make a profit, that's great, but I'm the kind of artist that will sell my art specifically just to buy more art supplies because they're so flippin' expensive.
Mm.
Alright, so we got a base color down for this lady. She is going to be purple. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna keep this here. I need, let me have that purple on the end. Yeah, this one is, oh, I forgot to tell you what the original color was. This color is, trying to read it, lilac. So what I just laid down for this lady is lilac. Let's see, can you see? Prismacolor, lilac. And the color that I'm about to use to make some shadows, the initial shadows, is mulberry. This is mulberry. And this is kind of a reddish purple or maybe pinkish purple. It depends on how it, yeah, it's pinkish. This is going to give me like the lay of the land for when I'm trying to mark out where I want my shadows to be. And then I go in with, the actual shadows are probably going to be indigo. And indigo is a very dark blue. But I like to use a color that stands out, like mulberry in this case, to create shadows, at least like a template. That's the word I'm looking for, like a template of shadows. I have trouble viewing shadows and highlights sometimes, especially if I'm doing this out of my head. So that's a lot harder for me to do than if I had a reference photo. I did have a reference photo for when Dimitri and I were sketching out the lady, but she looks, I wanted to make her my own lady, so she's not wearing what the lady in the picture was wearing. The lady in the picture was wearing like a gold sort of dress, and it had a lot of frills on it and stuff like that. I wanted this to be much more simple because I'm trying to get the message across. I don't know if all of you were here at the time, but in the beginning I explained that this is a piece of art that a lot of pagans do, their own interpretations, and it's about it's going to say, we are the granddaughters of the witches you couldn't burn. So I wanted the focus of the picture to be that message and not such a frilly dress. So I took out all the frills in the original picture, and I'm changing the color, and I am making it my own. I basically used the reference photo just for body placement, because I cannot do body placement straight out of my head. I'm getting better at it because I practice, but body placement for me is really hard. I think it probably has something to do with the fact that I'm disabled and I don't place my own body, in strange positions like this, so I have trouble visualizing it. I have that issue when I'm writing my books too. Like if I have to describe somebody doing something very physical, it's difficult because I don't know what it feels like. Cindy wants to know, have you ever drawn photos based on dreams or things you've seen with psychic abilities? We just talked about this a little while ago, and actually I have a goal of um, doing a portrait series of spirits I've met um, over my lifetime, since I have the ability to communicate with spirits. I've met a lot of them, and a lot of them came and went before the time of photographs. So oh, let's see. There, with my shadow on it, I think you can probably see better what I'm doing for the shadow. And let's see, can you see that better? Because my head is making a shadow. Sometimes with Prismacolors, they get so shiny that it's difficult for people to see. How about we turn off the table lamp and see if that helps?
Yeah.
Try turning off the ceiling light. Ah, okay. Well, you can kind of see when it. There we go! I think we found it. Is that better, guys? Let me know if this looks better. I turned off the ceiling light and turned on my table lamp. Okay. So, like I said, I'm doing my shadows. But yes, I want to do a series of portraits about the spirits I've met because many of them never had a chance to have their picture made or they were too poor to have their picture made. So I kind of want to do that. I'm going to do one of John Wilkes Booth because I have a friend who knew him in her past life and she wants one. So I'm going to do that for her. But I was trying to get a little bit better at what I'm doing before I do one for someone who is going to keep it in their house, you know. And I don't know if you can tell, but this section right here is actually behind her. This section right here is the front of her dress, and then back here is the back of her dress floating up behind it. It'll make much more sense when I get the colors back in order. She has a leg right here, so you want to kind of show the shadow of her leg. Without making it too much like fitted to her body, because you do have to remember what it's like to be in water when your clothes are floating around. It's different. And then the front half of her leg is right here. So you want to make a shadow, probably a deeper shadow right here because it's underneath. And then I am just going through and laying out where shadows should be. And then there are folds in the dress also, which is really difficult. I'm not so great at the whole folding thing. Fabric is incredibly difficult. What time is it? 3 o'clock. Okay, so my home health lady has about a half an hour, actually probably 20 minutes left. So I'm going to give you guys the 10-minute warning that I'm going to have to close this in 10 minutes. But please don't worry because we will do this again. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had some fun. And when I have another 3-hour day, probably not tomorrow, because tomorrow my home health lady has to come freaking early for me, and I will not be awake enough to answer questions and be cheerful. So, probably next Thursday. I mean, hey, we could make this a Thursday thing if you guys are interested, where we just hang out and I draw some pictures and you guys hang out with me. We could do that. That's always an option. So you guys just let me know what you want, and we will figure it out. And so I'm going to call it at 3:20. That's when we're going to sign off. And don't worry, I will show you guys the progress I make on this dress, because I'm interested too. I really have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going with it. Alright, let me have the indigo one.
Yeah.
No,
Blue.
that's indigo. I didn't mean indigo. I meant that one in your hand. That one. This one is called Violet. So this is a true dark purple. Wait, there you go. Can you see that? Prismacolor Violet. This is where I start really putting in the shadows with actual shadowy colors. Not every artist will use a brighter color to lay out where they want their shadows to be, but I do. It's easier on my eyes. And sometimes it shows through and adds a little extra dimension to the dress or the fabric or whatever it is you're drawing. And going in like this. Did you let Daisy in?
She's stuck out there. She
Oh.
wants to stay. No, but she's probably not at the door.
If she's not at the door, that's fine, but
What is she doing?
where is she?
I know she was up on the steps. She's just sitting up on the steps.
Hanging out. That's Daisy.
I'm like, what are you doing up there? Come on. She's just sitting there all posing. That's how she was. She was just sitting there all posing.
That's my dog.
And it's cold outside. You don't have to be outside. It's cold outside. Interesting.
Alright, so for right now, that's what we're dealing with. Since my home health lady has to leave in a few minutes, she has to leave in 15 minutes, we're going to start cleaning up. But I'm going to put a picture of the progress on my Instagram account, because I know that this camera is not perfect for showing everybody what I'm doing, but hopefully you guys could see enough. And I think next Thursday we'll do this again. I'll probably be done with this drawing by next Thursday, but we can do more live streaming if this is interesting to you guys. So just leave me some comments and let me know what you want, and we'll go from there. So I want to say thank you for tuning in. Sorry you can't see my face right now, but it's the drawing that matters, not my face. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope that I can see you next week when we do this again. Have a great day, you guys. Bye bye.